Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of You've Gotta Hear This. I did that one a little different this time. Thought I'd mix it up.
I noticed. I like it.
It was a good one.
Probably my favorite one yet.
Thanks. Well, welcome back, guys. How are you doing?
Great.
John, how are you today?
I can't complain, you know.
Rare
Nice to see-
Saturday
It's
report.
nice to see Joe out of bed.
Yeah, I'm alive. I made it.
We
that
very
was-
rarely see Joe when he's not in bed, so this is a treat. This is a treat for all of us. It's like a Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka scenario, where every time we go visit Joe, he's just in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the like people say, I do the bare minimum. I try to keep relaxed when people come over. They can't hold a candle to me. I'll just lay in bed and just kind of eat goldfish crackers and Cheez-Its, and people can do what they want.
Watch Price is Right. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that about you. Your very relaxed atmosphere that you create when people come over.
It's almost like I don't care about anyone or anything, you know?
That's certainly the vibe.
Yeah.
That's certainly the vibe.
That's what I try to bring to the table.
That's what I want in a host.
Like, where's Joe? I don't know. Sure he doesn't.
Okay.
Probably
His
in-
door was open. Garage was on fire. Fuck it.
But you're looking good. You're looking very healthy. You're looking very spry. Glad to have you back.
Yeah.
Got that Pfizer in him.
Yeah,
I got my shot. Bought stuff for Reese's Cup s'mores today.
Nice.
Bought a bunch of lawn games for my backyard.
Oh, cool.
I'm fired up.
So
I'm gonna
when
have
you
some hot
say
dogs.
bunch of long games, when you say
Long
a bunch
games.
of long games,
I got bocce
how
ball,
many? What?
bocce ball,
Mhm.
volleyball,
Yeah.
badminton,
Wow.
something that looks like badminton, but you don't need a net and you just keep the ball up in the air. It's like pickleball or something. I got that too. Yes, I'm 34. Don't care. Still playing that shit.
Some
Yeah, I'm gonna have a fully
bootleg lawn darts.
no. So the scar on my head's from a lawn dart.
Oh,
I got
really?
hit in the- I got
Wait,
hit
is
in
it
the
really?
face with one. Yeah. So I got like a Harry Potter scar right here. It's a big L for logic, not Lucifer. But I got an L on my forehead, and it was from a Nerf Javelinch. So basically a lawn dart, but it's a PVC pipe with wings and a tiny little rubber protector that didn't stay on. They used crazy glue probably to put that on there. My brother's friend Ivan is kind of a dick anyway. Wasn't trying to hurt me though. Through the Nerf Javelinch, the wings were bent. It turned, and instead of going to my brother Kevin, it went directly to my forehead. And then I was just kind of hanging out waiting for my turn, but my turn came too soon. Hit me in the head, and then I just remember blood going straight down my face and just seeing through the blood. And I thought that was kind of cool, but it fucking hurt. And then that was it.
Wow.
Yep.
It's like
And I got
Ralph
old school-
Cifaretto's son.
I got old school stitches, so not the liquid stitches. So it
Oh, boy.
didn't ever fully heal. And I went into a pool too soon, and I guess that was.
We've lost him to the Matrix.
All right.
Yeah, say that part about going into a pool too soon again.
I went into a pool too soon, and it got infected.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, and it wasn't that bad though. They handled it pretty quick, but it was getting like pussy and stuff. And then that's the story of my forehead. So if you haven't noticed it, it's because my hair covers it. But yeah, Nerf lawsuit. I'll get to it.
You could have maybe done it.
I'm going to talk super quick, but I have a related story that I think is relevant to this. I remember when I was a kid, I'm talking maybe 6, maybe 5. This is one of the earliest memories in my life. I was down in one of my friend's parents' basement, and it was me and 3 other friends. And so they had built a fort, which was a cardboard wall across the complete one side of a basement. And so we were going to have a siege. We were going to have a war. And so they said, okay, you can be in the fort, and you can have these dominoes, and they'll be like bombs. Or you can be outside of the fort, and you can have this bow and arrow, and you have to take the fort over. And me and my friend were like, shit, dude, we're going to take the fort. So we kind of high-fived each other, and we got into the fort. And so we're sitting there behind these cardboard boxes. We don't know what's going on the other side of the room. And these guys have bows and arrows. And we're like, all right, 1, 2, 3, go. And this as soon as we say go, this arrow shoots through the cardboard and like 6 inches from our head and sticks in the wall. And we go, holy shit. And that was the end of the game. So I was 6 inches away from dying as a 7-year-old. And I'll never forget that to this day. Like, it was so close. My life was so close to being over.
Yeah, or you could be that one kid with the eye patch in school. It's one or the other.
Right. Which isn't cool until you get into your 40s. Like, if you're in your 40s and you've got an eye patch, that's pretty rad. But
yeah, when you're a kid, people just want to stay away from you, and it's really, really sad.
Yeah, they don't trust you. What did that kid do?
Last impaling story is your story reminded me of mine. In 6th grade, I thought I was really bored in class, and I wrapped a elastic band around a really sharp pencil, and I just held the pencil like this, just doing nothing. And then the pencil tip was sharp, so it pierced through the rubber band, and it shot so fast. So it went like this across, didn't cut me, but it was this close to my eye, and it hit the back corner where the ceiling touches the wall. And I remember being in class like this after it did that, like, I'm a fucking dumbass. That was the stupidest thing I've ever done. So I almost lost an eye.
Yeah, that'll change your life. And you haven't done a single stupid thing since.
Nope. Facts.
Yeah.
Don't cold fact right there. Most factual thing you said.
Does anybody else have a near impaling story before we continue to our...
I don't have a near impaling, but I have a near drowning.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, that's good.
It is actually one of my first childhood memories. We had a barbecue, and remember the orange swimmies you put on your arms?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the floaties.
Yeah, I put them on my feet and jumped in the pool.
Oh my God.
So if you could see like the water level, then like my 2 feet just kicking, because I was upside down. I didn't understand science and like gravity.
Oh, that's so
Did
good.
someone dive in and rescue you, or did you figure out how to
Yeah,
get
my
your head above
sister
water?
and my father like jumped. It was an above ground pool, like classic Long Island, and then they jumped over the ledge and like, got me out.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
I almost drowned in an above ground pool, but it's not as funny as that. So I'll just, that can be the last story if you want. It's not going to be that.
I almost drowned, and it was not really because of my own stupidity, I wouldn't say, but the stupidity of a place called Action Park in New Jersey, which is sort of legendary at this point. It's kind of shocking. Have you guys heard of Action Park? I mean, no, Greg.
I watched
the
the movie and the documentary.
You did?
Is there
Yes.
a movie? Is there a documentary
Yes.
of Action Park? No, I
A
haven't.
Jackass movie. It's basically Johnny Knoxville. It's unbelievable. The movie's great. Movie's great. Documentary's great. I don't know which is better. They all blend together.
You're getting very Matrixy, Joe.
Yeah, you're kind of getting weird sometimes, but it keeps coming back. But
I don't know what to do because I'm using cell service and my Wi-Fi. I'm not using the Wi. Maybe I'll turn the Wi-Fi on my phone. Maybe it's matched.
Get that sweet Google Fiber.
yeah. But yeah, Action Park was legendary for its lack of concern for safety. It was just kind of a part of the experience was that you were going to probably get very injured or close to death.
Mm-hmm.
They had this one thing which I never went on. It was like a concrete kind of what you would go down on the luge. So they let people go down very fast on this concrete thing, and it was on like you kind of lay on a skateboard or like balance on a skateboard going down this concrete luge very fast. And if you fall off, you just fall on concrete going extremely fast down a hill. They had a ride that was just a rope swing, like 20 feet above a lake, and you just swing and jump into the lake. And the water was freezing.
A quick question about this establishment. What are they pitching it as? Is it a water park? Is it a skate park? Okay.
It's like a water park run by kids. Like there's a lot of like younger kids, and it was like no rules. Yeah.
The name of the documentary is Class Action Park.
Yeah, that's
Is
right.
it really? Is it really? That's really clever. Is that really the name of it?
Yeah,
All right.
I think
that is
2
correct.
or 3 kids died there. What I don't know. I
couple
can't look it up
people
because my
did.
internet's jacked, but I think it was like 2 or 3 kids died there.
Yeah.
It sounds like they should have tried. It sounds like the park should have tried harder.
They, they tried to make a water slide with an upside down loop, which I never got to try. I think it was a very brief experiment, and someone got stuck in it because, of course, it's very difficult to get the speed you would need to go all the way upside down in a water slide.
Right.
So that didn't last very long. But so my experience was a lot less exciting than that. It was on one of those rafts that you go down a river, and one of those big ones where you can have like 4 or 5 people sitting in it. And so at the end of it, there's this tunnel, and the water like kind of sloshes back and forth. And I guess it was kind of stupid of us. We were kind of leaning to either side of the tunnel to make it go. And as we get towards the end of the tunnel, the thing flips over and we all fall out. And it's the end where everybody gets out of their big rafts. And so I'm underwater and going to swim to get out. And I go to get out of the water and realize there's one of those rafts on top of me. So I can't get up. So I swim a little further and try to get out. And there's another raft. And the situation was everybody had gotten, leaves their rafts there. So there is like probably 10 of these things all just next to each other for, I don't know, 30 feet across or something. And I'm swimming and keep trying to get up and you can't push these things up because they're very heavy. And I was running out of breath and just trying to swim and find a place where I could get my head above water, and like literally found a spot between 2 rafts and like stuck my head up and got a breath. Like I felt like as close as I possibly could have to running out of breath.
Yeesh. Did you have a moment where like you're like, this is it, I'm done?
For like a brief second, I think I was, there it is. Yeah. There was a second of that. I also felt like I really remember feeling like there's no way, like this can't be
the end of my life.
This can't be how I go. Like this is just no. Like, I was like, I refused for this to be, which I'm sure is probably a lot of people's last thought.
God,
especially if you're being eaten by crocodiles.
Yeah, crocodiles. No, you'd be like, this is kind of rad.
I would go down that crocodile's throat clapping.
No, dude, there'd be so much terror. If you fell into a crocodile or alligator pit, it would be so much raw, just terror.
No.
You wouldn't be thinking about life or death. You'd just be thinking of, this is the scariest shit ever, and then black. Like, there would be nothing else.
I would reach out and I would grab the nearest alligator's claw and I would fold it into a fist, and then I would fist bump it while I was going down its throat. I'd be like, this is such an awesome way to go, man. I would be like, I would look at this would be things that I would be saying in my mind, but also vocalizing to the alligator. Like, my grandpa went in old age. This is a fucking rad way to go. And then I would somehow communicate that I wanted this printed on my tombstone, that because there was like, he was a loving father and a loyal whatever. I would want on my tombstone, he got eaten by alligators, and then he fist bumped. Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about.
What if you were such a like Florida gator?
I also want to emphasize that if anybody listening has had any relatives that have died from alligator pits, I apologize. Please do not cancel me. I don't have Twitter.
I just don't think you'd have enough time. I honestly give you 3 seconds before you black out.
No. I'm a tough ass dude.
You'd faint from terror. You'd black out from terror. There's no way people are conscious.
No, but you don't understand. I've been training my whole life for this. Yeah.
I'm going to bring you to the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach. There's an alligator park behind there. I'm going to push you over the edge and see how long you last.
No, that's fine. I'll probably last 3 seconds, but in those 3 seconds, I'm just bumping and communicating.
You'll make it a priority.
Yeah.
And then the last thing you're gonna see is like go down that alligator's throat is my arm coming out.
like the dude from Pitfall doesn't even thumbs up when he's getting eaten by gators. Like,
Oh,
no way you
Pitfall.
give it a thumbs up.
Oh, that's
No.
a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
All right. Hey,
The Almost
I'm
Mario Bros. The Almost Mario Brothers. The game people forget about because it wasn't as good.
Nobody's forgetting about Pitfall. Nobody's forgetting about Pitfall.
Yeah, and I'll say my famous catchphrase. None of that has anything to do with what we're talking about today, which is favorite punk album of all time. And we're gonna get things started with Mike Monzetta.
Absolutely. This one was a no-brainer, man. That one we did last week, that was kind of a slog. I don't like to research these things. Normally I can just go and look at my playlist and come back with an answer. But the last one, it was kind of a slog. But this one, as soon as we presented the topic, it was just instant. And the answer, and the only correct answer, is Warriors Code by Dropkick Murphys. No question. No question. Because my two favorite things in the world are boxing and drinking. And Dropkick Murphys hits that line of an album that you can listen to while boxing 12 rounds or drinking 12 beers. And to this day, like, I'm not even sure which of those two have caused me more brain damage. But to take it, it's probably going to say drinking, but to take it even further, my favorite boxer of all time is a guy named Mickey Ward, Irish Mickey Ward. And Warriors Code has Mickey Ward on the cover, and a song called Warriors Code. Like, the title song is about Irish Mickey Ward. So there's absolutely no question that that's going to be my favorite punk band of all time. And it was just hard, man, because everything Dropkick Murphys does sounds exactly the same. But I don't say that as a detriment. I say that like as a 2 thumbs up. Like, keep doing that. Keep doing that. You can make albums forever and ever and ever that sound exactly like every album that you ever made, and I'll keep buying them, man. You guys just put one out yesterday that I loved. It was fantastic. It sounded like all your other albums. It was amazing. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Even this morning, I was...
Don't fix it. Don't fix it. It's not broken.
Absolutely, man. Keep doing it. Keep doing it for the rest of your lives, and I'll keep buying them. And even this morning, man, I boxed 5 rounds listening to Dropkick Murphys. It was fantastic. But the reason I like
where are you boxing these days?
Oh God, are you gonna? There's a. I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say. There's a gym in
Oh,
Charlotte.
I was just curious. I'm glad you're doing it. I just didn't know where you were going because Ultimate Gym's closed, so I wasn't sure.
Absolutely,
That's awesome.
Absolutely not where I'm going to box. On Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. But yeah, so it's so hard to. So the clear answer is going to be Dropkick Murphys, but the hard part comes in choosing the album. Which Dropkick Murphys album is it going to be? And it is such a no-brainer with Warriors Code. So I'm just looking at my notes here. So they've got the song "The Warriors Code," which is about Mickey Ward, which is about my favorite boxer of all time. I really enjoyed the song "Spirits Alive." I really enjoyed the song "Sunrise Highway." But then you've got Tessie, which is about the Boston Red Sox, which features a guest spot by Johnny Damon, who is my favorite Boston Red Sox of all time.
He's on the song?
Yeah, he sings on the song. He's in the background. I think they
like
got
a
all the
group
Red
vocal
Sox.
thing?
Yeah, like a chorus. Like a chorus.
Ever fucking heard? Oh my goodness!
Wait, what did you say? You don't like Tessie?
No, I didn't know that was. There was a music credit of that kind. I did not know, and that is also, I'm from Boston, but I'm not like stereotypically from Boston. I don't think I am. But that I had no idea.
Yeah, Johnny Damon featured on with musical credit on Warriors Code. But then now we're going into the top 2 songs of all time, and this was so hard for me to do because I love every song that Dropkick Murphys did, and it was so hard to narrow it down. But then when I just looked at this album, like, it was a slam dunk. So it wasn't really that hard, because then we go into Shipping Off to Boston, which is by far the most commercial Dropkick Murphys song due to the movie The Departed. Yeah, but it's so good. It's so good. And it's kind of moved down my ranking of favorite Dropkick Murphys songs only because I've listened to it so much. But if you take that out of it, it really is such an awesome song. And but then you've got
is
Go
that
ahead.
on Warriors Code?
It is, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It's on Warriors Code, and it's a stacked album. This is like the Paul Simon Graceland of Dropkick Murphys. But then you've got Captain Kelly's Kitchen, which is my #1 favorite all-time Dropkick Murphys song of all time, which is on the same album as all of the 5 songs that I just named. So yeah, it's no question. It's no question. But I do want to say something about Dropkick Murphys, and I don't know how to. I don't want to call them a gimmick band. I guess I'll go with maybe like event band, because I don't want to listen to Dropkick Murphys if I'm not boxing or if I'm not partying. If I'm not doing one of those 2 things, I've got no use for Dropkick Murphys. Like, remember that episode that we did about cookout albums? Like, I couldn't imagine putting Dropkick Murphys on a cookout playlist. That's not something you're going to chill out to. So I don't know if gimmick is the right word, but I think event is more of the better word. I think if you're drinking and having fun, but not just like at a cookout. If you're drinking to get boisterous, or if you're boxing, or if it's St. Patrick's Day, I think there's only one band you can put on, and it's Dropkick Murphys. But I think if you're having friends over for a cookout or for like a dinner party, I don't know if Dropkick Murphys is something you're going to want to put on. So it's hard for me to declare them my favorite band. But I think deep down, Dropkick Murphys might be my favorite band of all time, just because in those events where I choose to listen to Dropkick Murphys, they're the best band that you could possibly put on.
I want to see, this is just added to my bucket list, I want to see Mike Baby at a Dropkick Murphys show.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Side, but I want to see Mike Baby like in the front middle, being that guy. I want to see that. And that's on my bucket list now. We need that happen. If it's in Boston, that would be perfect. If it's anywhere else, that's cool too. But I will go just to see Mike Baby. I don't even see Dropkick. I want to see him react and see him in that state, because I think that would be amazing.
Okay, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I've been really big into the Dropkick Murphys since 2006, 5. And the way that I got into them, this is a great story that would never fly today. But I used to live in Hollywood, California, and I flew back to Charlotte for a week to visit all my friends. And I don't remember the circumstances, but I went to go stay with Greg. And for some reason, I wasn't able to leave until like later in the afternoon. But Greg had to go to work.
I had to go to work. And
Okay,
you didn't have your car, and I lived all the way up in like Mooresville. So it was a hike from anything with civilization. So I said, hey, Mike, stay at my house for a few hours. I'm going to work. I'll be right back.
Yeah, but then this is where it gets crazy. So he kind of pushed his laptop over, and he's like, yeah, feel free to fuck around on my laptop. Like, no one would ever say that today. There was no browser history clearing or anything. He's like, yeah, fuck around on my laptop for the remainder of the afternoon. Like, I couldn't imagine doing that. So what I did for the entire afternoon, this is back when before I really knew about day drinking. So it was a new phenomenon to me. So Greg went to work at around 8 o'clock or whatever, and he had a fridge full of like natural light or whatever. So as soon as he left, I just went to his fridge. I cracked open a natural light, and started playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out on his laptop and just going through his music collection. And that day, I was introduced to so many great bands like Flogging Molly, Dropkick Murphys. Who does Nikki FM? I remember listening to that while I was knocking out Von Kaiser.
Yeah.
I was playing Von Kaiser. It's like, outside of your window. Hit that start button.
King Hippo. Beating King Hippo to
yeah. I did that for like 6 hours. And there was this, and I was like, outside of your window. But so yeah, that whole day I just was discovering fantastic music and playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
I feel like I even made you like a mix CD with Dropkick on it, probably. Who knows?
That might have happened.
I wasn't trying to court you or anything. I was just giving you some music.
That might have happened. But to get back to your point, Joe, so I was into Dropkick Murphys for years, but I never went to a concert of theirs. But I always had in my head an idea of what a Dropkick Murphys concert would be. And I always thought it would be just a bunch of bald men standing around punching each other. And then one time I finally got to go to a Dropkick Murphys concert, and that's exactly what it was. And so I was so pleased to see that's what it was. But
I've never seen them in Boston, but I have friends who have gone, and they basically told me it's a bunch of giant Irish dudes, and it's not really like just punching each other. It's more of just a wave of them crashing and cascading down over and over and over and climbing. And there's a lot of climbing up, like human pyramid level of love and like
arms.
Yeah, like yeah.
A lot of that movement.
Yeah, and I know on St. Patrick's Day, like Dropkick obviously has a big show every year before COVID and everything. And I'm pretty sure they extended it to 2 shows, so 2 nights. But I may be wrong, but it may be 3 nights, and they're all sold out. So you can see them like a day before St. Patrick's Day, and the day after. But yeah, I would say that's probably the most fun you're going to have at a Boston event, period, because growing up there, to me, it's just Ireland, the sequel. Like, that's what Boston is.
Yeah, I want to say before, I know we've kind of got limited time, but I want to say before I go out that there are a few things in my life that I don't know how to phrase it, but they just kind of rise above the rest. Like meeting Rowdy Roddy Piper. Like he's been a childhood hero. And he just kind of like, when it comes to wrestlers, there's wrestlers and there's my favorite wrestlers. And then there's Rowdy Roddy Piper. Like meeting him was a dream. When it comes to like actresses, there's actresses and then there's hot actresses. But then there's like Nev Campbell, who was a personal, just meeting her was like a personal achievement for me. And so Dropkick Murphys kind of falls into that. There's bands and there's bands that I like. But then Dropkick Murphys sort of transcends those 2 categories. That's just in a very special category for me that really means a lot to me. And yeah, Warriors Code, no question, favorite punk album of all time.
Nice.
Hey, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go because I'm gonna have to skate soon. Not literally. I will need to go by 2:30. I picked the one that I first remember hearing, and it was one of my first CDs I got as a gift. It was Green Day Dookie, and it was great. I got that when I was 13 years old for Christmas from my mom's coworker friend. So that was cool. I don't know why she got me that, but she felt that I needed it. Yeah, my mom was, she worked in an office, and she was always friends with like all the other office women. And then there was one that would come over and have like wine with her like 3 nights a week or whatever, or watch Dallas.
And she used to say, I think Greg would like this.
Yeah, she's like, oh, here's a good CD. Because her son liked it, so it was like,
okay.
So yeah, she got me that for Christmas, and I enjoyed it. And then it wasn't the first CD I purchased. The first CD I purchased was Smashing Pumpkins' Melancholy Sadness, or whatever it's called. I always fuck it up. But yeah, the Dookie. What's that?
Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So I believe I had both of those around the same time. So that's what I listened to for quite a while. I listened to Dookie more. And it was because I was also coming off of like listening to like Jock Jams and Weird Al, and then I get Dookie, and I was like, wow, this is a whole nother kind of music. This is really great. And that was when they were still like Green Day. That was their second album, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
I think it was their second, but their first one was not widely available. I think you had to have some sort of to get their first one. Because I don't know what the first one was, but I do remember hearing that there might have been another one. Maybe Joe, maybe you can, I know you're a producer.
I think the first one was Kerplunk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's exactly what it was. Right.
But so yeah, I mean, that was a whole new sound for me to get into, and kind of
reference.
catapult me into a whole new experience. And then just some keynotes that I looked up on the internet for this. They performed at Woodstock 94 that year, where there was the infamous mud fight.
Yeah.
It was cool. That was cool to see as a 13-year-old. That's when it says here that they played at Madison Square Garden for Z100's Acoustic Christmas, and he performed the song "She" completely naked because he didn't think he'd ever perform there again, so he wanted to do something cool. Which I could probably pick something else that would be cooler, but but yeah, it's a solid album front to back for the most part. I haven't listened to it in a long time. I'm probably gonna listen to it tomorrow when I have some more free time just to revisit. But they're obviously a huge band now. Their American Idiot album was good. It kind of brought them back to a mainstream crowd, I guess. But they had the punk attitude more with the Dookie, obviously, because they were, I don't know how old they were, but they were just obviously not giving a fuck. So I don't know. That's all I got.
Let me ask you this. That's awesome that you say that. I mean, you're a little bit younger than me, but Green Day was also my first introduction to that sound. Like, I distinctly remember it was my senior year of high school, and I went to the Rock Hill Mall in South Carolina. I don't remember the name of the store, but I bought 3 CDs. I bought Hootie and the Blowfish Cracked Review. I bought Bone Thugs and Harmony, and I bought Green Day Dookie. But Dookie was also my first introduction to that kind of sound, and I loved it. But was Green Day Dookie cool at the time? I have to imagine it was.
I don't know.
I think it was pretty cool.
Okay. I know, like in high school, it was
widely accepted. It was much more accepted than like Nirvana. Like you would, like a lot of kids in my grade would they would get in trouble for bringing like Nirvana in or stuff like that. But Green Day was for some reason allowed. I don't know why. I know the cover of Dookie is incredible because I would just stare at it for the amount of time it took me to listen to the album. There was just so much to look at.
Yeah, I remember the second you put that first song, I declare I don't care no more. I can't do the voice, but as soon as you put that first song on, you're like, this is going to be fantastic. And it was a sound. That was a sound that I'd never had any previous exposure to. Like, I didn't know what Kerplunk was, but then, and I went to college and I found out about like Newfound Glory and it's the same kind of thing. But at the time, Green Day was my first exposure to that sound, just like you said. So I'm right there with you, man.
You had Basket Case, you had Welcome to Paradise.
Oh, dude,
I mean, those are all great songs.
Yeah, every song on that album.
I think Dookie got more people into punk rock than any album has. Period.
Mm-hmm.
It got me into punk rock. At the same time, I heard Blink, Green Day, Phoenix TX, Guttermouth, all the same rock CD I ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, like, as I remember, there wasn't anything on the radio like that. Like, I was fully into the grunge phase of my life at that point, and I think maybe that a little bit paved the way for something more punk rock to be mainstream. But I mean, like, probably unless you're like going back to like the Ramones or something like that. I don't know, and for people our age, like the Ramones was a little bit I didn't really know people that were listening to the Ramones, but
me either.
Probably people that were older were well aware of that sound, and like there was probably some mainstream acceptance back in the 80s or something. But I feel like there was nothing quite as big as Green Day with that kind of sound, like being in like top 40 radio, which seemed pretty crazy at the time.
I also appreciate that they took a collection of their best songs, their first release, and named it a poop joke.
Get their best deals on all smartphones.
So their first release as a band, all the songs, they probably scrapped a bunch of songs. They picked the best ones. This is their first release. And then they encapsulate the entire thing as a poop joke, as Kerplunk, the sound of a poop hitting toilet water. Then they follow it up with a cartoon, an album cover that's a cartoon of people throwing shit at each other, and they call the album Dookie.
Yeah.
That's a real commitment to poop. That's the most committed a band to poop and being successful at the same time. That's a first as well. First
And
and
the other
second.
thing too is like when I was doing my quick research on this topic, there's a lot of bands you could list that would sound like you're just going for like street cred, like the Clash or whoever else from like the 70s and early 80s. But it's like I never got into those bands just because of the pretentious vibe that you get. So I wanted to get something a little bit more that hit home or was more relatable to me. Like I could just say, "Oh yeah, Clash, game over, whatever, it's fine," or like Joan Jett and or whoever. There's too many bands that are like the go-tos.
The go-tos were fantastic.
Oh yeah, they're great. They're very good.
We're saying our favorite. I don't think we're saying the best. I think we're saying our favorites. So I think
Absolutely.
Dookie is a great pick. I also, in high school, I really liked that thing that Billy Joe was doing with his voice. I thought he had a cool voice. I'd never heard anything like that before.
It was different.
There's a video of their first show ever, and it's in a high school outside, and there's like 10 or 15 people up front, like filming on like giant camcorders or just there. And you can kind of see that they were going to be a giant band from that video, and it was just going to happen. Same with Rage. When you see Rage Against the Machine's first set ever.
Oh man, the early stuff is crazy.
Yeah, and but it's just cool. You see Green Day playing their high school, and 90% of the people don't give a shit. And then there's like 10, 15 people up front, and it's just, oh man. If you haven't seen that, go on YouTube and find it. It's worth a watch.
Yeah. There's a great video of Pearl Jam that's very similar, where they're doing a music festival in Seattle in 1991, and nobody gives a fuck. And they sound fantastic, but it's like 1991 and nobody gives a fuck.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's phenomenal. I'll send you guys a link. But then Green Day went on to have the song in the season finale of Seinfeld. Like, who would have thought?
Oh,
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Only like 5 years later after Dookie, which is crazy.
Yeah.
If that, because Seinfeld ended in '98, so Dookie, like 4 years later after Dookie, they're on like a major sitcom.
And who would have
series
expected
finale
to have like such a beautiful acoustic ballad too? You know,
Right.
like, hearing Duke.
It's not a bad song. It's
No,
not
it's
a
great.
bad song at all.
But it was surprising at the time. I think I don't know. I didn't follow their career that closely, but I remember being surprised that they put out a song like that, and then that was like they got even bigger. Like, and yeah, they're like Seinfeld big, and like playing at people's proms and like graduations and stuff. You know, like people who probably never even thought about punk rock music were like, oh yeah, I love Green Day.
What album was that on?
I don't
Was that on Nimrod?
I think it's on the Seinfeld soundtrack. Seinfeld original motion picture score.
Yeah.
I like it.
Also featuring bump, 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 bump.
Next.
So
That was probably the funniest thing I think I've ever said. And that was
song.
Anyway. Anyway, let's all do it. Let's all do it.
So it's funny that Greg mentions the Clash and how pretentious they are,
and how only a shithead would choose them.
Yeah.
As their favorite punk band.
Them, the band, for like everyone like, oh, I love Michael Jackson Thriller. It's like you're just saying that because you know it's a great album and you think you'll look. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just rambling. You get what I'm saying, John?
I do. I get it. But it's funny you mention that because that they are my choice.
What an asshole.
Fucking Greg.
You're a real pretentious prick, John.
Oh,
I know. And it is a pretty pretty basic, unsurprising choice. But so my choice is London Calling by The Clash, which is even more, mainstream and basic than choosing one of their earlier albums. But I actually ended up listening to the Clash like in junior high, I didn't really know anything about who they were or like what their history was. But my first introduction to them was like a kid I knew who was in a band in high school who I thought was like really cool. I went to his house one day, and in his room he had a poster of the London Calling album cover, which most people probably know what it is. It's the bass player, like a silhouette of him smashing his bass on stage. And I had never heard their music, but I saw that picture and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And that band is probably really cool, and I want to listen to them. And so then I started listening to them after that, and they were really cool. And it was something that like I didn't have any, like I said, no idea about their history, nothing about punk rock. I didn't know anything, so I wasn't even really listening to them as a punk rock band. And the album isn't even that punk. I was even kind of thinking about that, like thinking about the songs, and there's really not a lot of straightforward music that you would call punk rock in the traditional sense. Like there's a lot of there's some reggae influence. There's even some like kind of just old school rock and roll influence. And it's pretty eclectic, really. And I think from what I know about their history, that was the first album where they really like broke out and ventured outside of punk rock music. But like I feel like in a certain way they managed to like encapsulate a lot of what had happened in like rock music, punk rock music, reggae, and maybe even other stuff that I'm not aware of. I feel like kind of took 20 years of music that had happened leading up to like 1979 and brought it all together into one album, and somehow made it work. Like it's very cohesive somehow, but it's really also eclectic, which is really amazing to me. When I was in 8th or 9th grade listening to this thing, it kind of reminded me of how I felt when I would listen to the Beatles for the first time, like years earlier, where like there's this thing where they're kind of all over the place musically, and like you can tell there's different people writing songs, different people singing different songs, but they've somehow managed to tie it all together into this cohesive thing that also somehow just sounds like them, even though they're wearing all these influences on their sleeves. So like that was really impressive to me, and still is really. Like every time I revisit it, I'm really amazed by how they're able to do that. And then just like from a songwriting perspective, it's just every song is good to great. And also a double album, which is amazing to have such a solid collection of songs. I feel like most double albums you get at least a few clunkers where you're we could have lived without that one or this one, and that's not like it. It's just like gold, like front to back, and that's amazing. So so I mean that's my pick. It's I feel like one of those, it's a little bit of a cliche, but also it's a cliche for a reason, because it's that good that deserves all the credit that it's gotten.
I want to ask you about that album. Are we still in the Matrix? I heard like
I don't know. I feel like Greg's getting Matrixy and Joe's getting Matrixy.
Okay.
I don't know.
Matrix is like a Matrix.
You sound like you're coming in clear now, so I think we're fine. But I want to ask you about that album. I remember I listened to The Clash. It was I actually checked it out from the Los Angeles library. I took it home and listened to it, and I didn't really like it, but I felt like it might have been a thing that I didn't really get. And so similarly, there was an album. I'm just looking at my notes because I wrote this down while you were talking, but somebody tried to turn me on to Velvet Underground, and I don't know if I would call Velvet Underground punk, but maybe they are. I don't know. But
they have like maybe could be credited with some of the roots of like, or at least like their approach to music was kind of punk rock.
I think, and I can't remember the exact album it was, but I know that it was the one that was the most famous Velvet Underground album. So if you know what that album is, but somebody tried to turn me on to them, and I really didn't like that either. So is this just, as we were talking about, like, is this like an acquired taste, something that if I knew more about what I was listening to, I would get it over time?
Market. Listen to Lost in a Supermarket and tell me you don't love that song.
Is that by Velvet Underground?
So no, I'm just talking about the Clash. Like,
oh, okay,
yeah, the Clash. Lost in a Supermarket is, I think, what won me over for that. I could listen to that song on repeat. Like, we had that episode. Like, you know, what's that song that would play on repeat if you were in hell? Lost in a Supermarket would probably be if I was in heaven. Like, you could play that song over and over and over, and I don't think I'd get sick of it.
My feeling is that I'm really glad that I discovered them when I was younger and before I had any idea who they were, because I think whenever you're like an adult and you're past that
exactly.
like, when you're a teenager, I feel like there's this window of time between like 13 and 18 where you're just like so open to anything and you don't have any preconceived ideas of what music should be or what this band means or that band means. You just like listen to stuff and respond viscerally to it. So I'm glad that I heard it during that time. Because I think if someone had played The Clash for me when I was in my 20s, and then I went, and especially you're listening to it, everyone's telling you, oh, this is one of the most important bands of all time, and this album is amazing. It's one of the top 10 albums of all time. And then you're like, okay, well, I guess this is it's supposed to blow me away or something. And you just go into it with this weird attitude, you know, and it's hard to get into something at that point. So that's what I would say.
Similar when you go into a movie, I think the best way to watch a movie, if you know it's got good reviews, don't watch the trailer. Don't. Just put the movie on. If enough of your friends say, hey, you should check out this movie, I think it's great, leave it at that. Don't read about it. Just find the movie, put it on. Get the best experience as a viewer like you did when you were a kid. It's the only way to do that. And I think it works with music too. Just find
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just saying, absolutely, yeah. That's
yeah.
It's like when Mike Baby talks about his movie Under the Clear Moon's Crescent Moon, whatever the fuck
you
it's
guys
called.
hate? Yeah, I'm trying to sell you guys on Under the Silver Lake. You guys hate it so much.
I can't. I just won't. I can't watch it because I have a feeling. I already have that feeling that it's going to be terrible. I'm going to hate it just because you love it so much. Not because I don't trust you. It's just you're hyping it up so much.
Lee Lally gave it a 7.5 out of 10, but then he said there was a scene that switched it to an 8 out of 10. Lee Lally. We love Lee Lally.
I have a solution to this.
Okay.
The thing you have with friends that you enjoy their taste in things, and it should just be like a message board. I guess it works with a chat, with like texting or whatever, but then it gets buried. This should be a program where you just dump things you like into this thing. You can't text, you can't put any words. You just find something you really like, you're digging this song, you're digging this album, you're digging this movie, and you just throw it into this thing, and then it just stays there. And then when you're bored looking at things that you want to listen to, you want to watch, you should be able to go to that and just check it out.
I don't know if I like that, because then you wouldn't be able to experience my enthusiasm about Under the Silver Lake, which is
enthusiasm. We want it cold and just there. We
all right.
Shelf app. Just throw it on the shelf. Don't say nothing. No star rating. Just throw it on there. Done.
Everyone on the Zoom chat right now that has not seen Under the Silver Lake is only cheating themselves. I don't care. I'm fine. I've seen it. I'm like the guy that got the COVID vaccine. I'm good. You guys are the ones that haven't gotten it. You're only cheating yourselves.
I'll never learn.
No, it's amazing.
All right. May I?
Well,
please,
yeah.
please.
So we're closing in on 5 minutes again on this one.
So let's do another one.
Let's just do one more, and you can do yours, and then we'll be done. Greg, do you need to go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So we'll.
Oh no!
I gotta go do another wedding. But John, I'll see you in a week. That'll be fun.
Send us a picture of the couple, and then ask us to guess what the first dance song is.
We had yesterday. I won't drag this up, but we had the worst bride I think we've ever encountered too.
Oh yeah.
We weren't allowed to talk to her. We had to talk to the maid of honor only.
Get the fuck out of town.
She had a six-page timeline that we had to go by. 6 pages. Yeah, it was wild, but you know, we did it flawlessly. It was great.
So this is one of the hardest picks for me, period. Punk is my favorite genre of music. Live music, it's where I started. For first punk CD, I had Green Day Dookie. First punk band I ever saw was in 2002 at the Salem Elks Lodge. It was a band called Boxing Water.
Nice.
A joke, almost like a joke band name for Bong Water. So I don't know, but they're an okay band. They didn't age very well for me, but they are a local band that made me fall in love with punk. Transit had a bunch of punk songs at the beginning, in the middle, and I guess a couple towards the end, but at least in full length and maybe in a half's worth of punk, what you would clarify as punk songs. Punk's tough because it's like the word rock. There's so many subgenres of punk that if you talk to someone who's like a crust punk, they're going to tell you some of the albums you consider punk aren't punk, and it gets messy. So I started just kind of looking at it like, does this album have punk? Has enough punk in it? Yes. So I had to pick between a lot. So I'm going to name off the ones I didn't pick, and then tell you the ones that I picked. This is how hard it was for me. Against Me, reinventing Axl Rose. Unfucking believable. The Suicide Files, Some Mistakes You Never Stop Paying For. Unbelievable punk record. Bouncing Souls, How I Started My Summer Vacation. The Ergs, funniest fucking album cover. The two albums I'm about to name are the funniest two punk rock album covers, in my opinion, and two of the greatest. Dork Rock Cock Rod is one of the best punk albums of all time. Lawrence Arms, one of
really. Slow down so I can write these down. But I have a hard time.
I'll send it to you. I
have a hard time believing that Dork Rock Cock Rock is the best punk album of all time.
One of the best punk albums of all fucking time. I'll stand by that.
All right.
I'll sign in. Lawrence Arms, not an LP, so I guess it gets disqualified, but one of the best punk EPs of all time. It's called Butt, Sweat, and Tears. Unfucking believable album. Really funny name. Great. Some of the best lyrics in punk rock, period. Hot Water Music, Caution. Unbelievable punk record. Dropkicks, Blackout. Amazing. American Nightmare, background music. Unbelievable. Kid Dynamite, Shorter, Faster, Louder. Unbelievable. Dillinger 4, Civil War. Unbelievable. I got 3 more. Strike Anywhere changes the sound. Changed my opinion of punk rock. It's such a meaningful album. It's not Rise Against. Everyone mixes up Strike Anywhere with Rise Against. Completely different band. Strike Anywhere is a lot better. Oscar, album's called Idol Will Kill. Amazing album. And of course, one of my favorites, Lifetime, Jersey's Best Dancers. And for newer punk rock albums, Menzinger's Hello Exile.
Yeah.
But those are some heavy hitting punk rock albums. This is my favorite genre of music. I feel very well versed in this genre more than any other genre of music. So I had to pick one. I had to pick one out of all these favorites, and I didn't name it because I didn't want to give it away. But my favorite, as of right now, which will change in a few months, my favorite punk rock album right now came out October 10th, 2006, Toronto, Canada. Came out on Deranged Records, and it came out on CD on Jade Tree Records. It was produced by John Drew, who also produced Tokyo Police Club. The album is 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 33 seconds. It's a band called Fucked Up, and the album's called Hidden World. It's genre-wise, it's considered hardcore punk, experimental rock, psychedelic, and punk rock. I saw them in Boston in 2007. It was a packed-out bar. The lead singer, he's an overweight bald man named Pink Eyes. He played the entire set in sweaty underwear, just tighty whities, and he smashed the microphone into his forehead and bled all over the stage. Needless to say, it was fucked up, and I was on board.
That is punk
What I
rock.
love about, yeah, it's like the real deal. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. I saw them live, and I go, this is it. This is the most punk thing I've ever seen, will ever see, and it's still to this day. This is it. That was it. Hidden World by Fucked Up is unconventional. It transcends boundaries of punk. It's thought provocative. It's unpredictable. It brings all the riffs. It even has those. It ends a song where they have the. I don't know how to describe it. John would have an idea of what this is. I'm just describe it the best way I can, not being a guitarist. But when you have two guitarists playing like one note, like one string, and they harmonize, and they're just playing this one riff on one string, and it just goes out. That's magic. I wish bands need to do that more in general. It's got a lot of influence from The Who. It's got a lot of influence from just angry punk rock. The singer is very well versed. He used a lot of biblical references, and a lot of the songs sound like you're leading an army across a field. It's their catchiest song, like their single. It's number 5. Like they don't. I love a band that doesn't care. They're not trying to be a big band. They put the catchiest single. They put it in the middle of the fucking record. I think that's awesome. Yeah, it's got a lot of perfectly placed weird moments, like whistling parts, violins for a punk rock album. It's got violins on it. It's my favorite album for track transitions. We'll never have an episode on favorite track transitions, but if we did, this would be the pick.
Never know. Yeah.
12 out of 10 I give it on transitioning from track to track. A lot of perfectly instead you just grunt, like you end on the word now, and instead of you just go ah. Like a lot of awesome moments like that. They ride out the jam when it calls for it, like The Who. They'll just keep going on a part, and you're just like, thank God you just kept repeating this part. That's good. Thank you for that. I don't have to go back to the song and re-listen to it all again for that one part. You're just going to jam on it. It's got a guest vocal by the screamer, not the singer, from Alexis on Fire.
Oh yeah, okay.
George
Now
Pettit,
you're talking about something that I know about. Now you're talking about something that I know about.
Yeah, but after you listen to this record, you're gonna know about it. You're gonna love it. I know it. And he's great in Alexis on Fire. He has a punk band, and I'm pretty sure he's had a few bands, but he's a punk vocalist over everything. Even though Alexis on Fire was his biggest band, I consider him a punk vocalist. His vocal is perfect. He's got a perfect vocal tone as a front man, and he's maxed it out. You can't get any better than that guy. And then for Pink Eyes, I'd give him on Vocal Fry, because vocals are such a big part for me for music, vocals, and lyrics. I'd give him an 8 out of 10. But with the amount of emotion and urgency he puts in it, he brings his vocals up to a 10 out of 10. So you can really hear the struggle, and he comes across as someone that teaches like ancient history in college, but he's also in a band. He's using a lot of words where if you're a word nerd, like there's a lot of respect that's coming out on this record. I'm going to give you some of the lyrics. These are my favorites. So these aren't the really nerdy ones, but these are my favorite. And this is what punk rock's about to me. You're sitting down, you're listening to a record. It's your first time hearing this band. And these are the words that are coming out of this fat man with a long grizzly beard and sweaty fucking underwear, just gross ass underwear. This is, and as he's smashing the microphone into his forehead, bleeding all over the stage. This is what he's singing about. I want to smash your house. I want to scratch your car. I want to fuck your wife. I want to break your life. I want to feel you snap. I want to hear you fucking crack. I don't like the world today. I'm going to rebuild it my own way. I'm a man. I am society. I don't like it, so I'll turn you into me. So you'll just have to learn it's for the best. Like, this person with lyrics is reaching through the speakers and fucking your head up because he's so good at what he does. And this is their first album. Like, I'm like, Jesus. Man Queller Man. So what a man queller is, a killer of man. So this is another one of my favorites on the record. Man Queller Man, quarantine the obscene, the slime from and the slime from the sublime. Be a stick or a stone, give the violence a home. Be a goat or a lamb, a coward or a man. There's by one path to take to end up in the same place. So a lot of his lyrics are about good or evil, we all die. He doesn't believe in an afterlife. So he's like, good or evil, we're all going to the same place. And I like that theme in this album. And then one of my favorites on the record, and I'm coming down to the end. I only got a few more things going on this. Yeah.
When you say we all die, is that like all of us?
Everyone. Every single one. But it's okay because you won't care about it because you don't have a thought. So it doesn't matter.
You'll be going down the throat of an alligator, so you won't.
Thumbs up, bitch. Thumbs up. Yep. Fate of Fates is an amazing song. It's one of my favorite intros on the record. The lyrics are, they believe that the path of righteous is paved with the lives of 6 million souls. I believe that one day all the stars in the sky will explode. Hear the comets that go whizzing by. They get closer every year. How long until one of them lands and wipes this place clear? Like, wow. He's on a fucking, like a space, like a solar system level of awesome, destructive punk rock lyrics. He's like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of punk rock. I fucking love Pink Eyes so much. And I had to end it on this for lyrics because of one of our wrestling themed episodes. And we had a few conversations about how you mishear lyrics. So I thought that the lyric, the song's called Blaze of Glory. You'll never unhear it once I tell you this, so I'm sorry if I ruined the song. But in the song Blaze of Glory, he says, it's all the small town hucksters and big city thieves trying with all that they can to take the rug from under your feet. And when I heard this song, I thought he was saying, it's all the small town Hulksters. So I'm thinking of these Hulksters that didn't make it to WrestleMania, all these small town Hulksters, the little brothers, you know?
Yeah, everybody in the small town that's saying their prayers, eating their vitamins.
They're all evil. They're eating miniature vitamins, small doses, small prayers. They're more of wishful thoughts.
That's pretty awesome.
And they're reading small books. They're reading pamphlets. They're not reading books.
I'm really excited to listen.
But that song's amazing. And I'm not trying to sell you. This is my favorite one right now. It will change in a month or two, but this is my favorite one right now. And what's it like? It's well written. It's well crafted. Punk rock, indie rock and roll anthems. It's for leading armies across giant fields into battle. That's what these songs were meant for. It's got a party level near Andrew WK, but the songs are serious in tone. But it makes you want to fucking, you're vacuuming and listening to this record, you're singing it out loud. You're mowing your lawn, you look like a psychopath. You're singing them by yourself. Like you can't, once you know the lyrics, you can't not stop singing this record. And my favorite tracks, like I said, Fate of Fates, Baiting of the Public, Man Queller Man, and Blaze of Glory. The album is called, and it's by the band called Fucked Up. I will send you all of those records, Mike.
Yeah, please.
You don't have to write anything down. I'll send it to you once I'm off. Once I get my internet's working up and running, I'm just going to send it to you as a text file or whatever, a text.
And this is such a great coincidence because I was going to text both of you after the show and ask you if you had any recommendations of bands that I should play because I actually do have an army that I'm about to lead through a giant field of battle, and I was going to ask you if you have.
One thing I forgot.
I was leaning towards the Gladiators soundtrack, but now it's apparently Fucked Up Hidden World.
It's a Hidden World. Hidden World by Fucked Up. And this is the
artwork. Or the
Gladiator
soundtrack.
You ready for the fucking artwork on this album? If they didn't put in enough fucking effort, look at this fucking artwork. Let me see.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
It's fucking awesome. That's a 10 out of 10 album cover. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I want to
I am not familiar with this band at all. I don't think I've ever even heard them.
Yeah,
You've definitely convinced me to check it out.
Yeah, my whole army.
The only other album I forgot, which I should have, and I always say the name wrong of the band, but it's Conor Oberst's punk project, Desperacidos, I think it is.
Yeah, Desperacidos.
Yeah, really fucking good. Every album, like I don't know if he has that many. I think he has like 2 or 3, but every song, my wife, Amanda, that's like one of her favorites. Every song, I'm going to add that to the list, Mike, and send that to you. But
Yeah, please do.
this is my favorite genre. So I wish I put this much effort into other genres that I like.